Rev up your engines. Too hybrid or not too hybrid? That is the question. Well, it's a 2009 Toyota Camry Hybrid. They started making them in 2006. The guy's the original owner. Okay, it's a Toyota Camry. You know what he did the first 12 years of ownership? Changed the oil and filter and nothing else. I'm not making this up. That's all he had to do to it. Because the one thing about hybrid cars is they regenerate electricity, right? So guess what? There's a lot less wear on the brake system, so he never even had to touch that the first 12 years. I personally would be aware of the hybrid car because the technology is so high. I mean, look under the hood. And there it is, the hybrid synergy drive connected to the variable valve timing 2AZ FXE engine. Now, it's almost that Toyota engine that burns oil. My son's 2007 Camry burns a lot of oil now. This one doesn't burn any oil at all. Later, as time went on, they made the piston rings better. One doesn't burn oil. Got 147,369 miles. Now, of course, he's added the backup camera on. It's got the Toyota system. And strangely enough for a Toyota, when he got it, the sound system broke, so they replaced it. But that was 13 years ago, and it still works. So they fixed it the first time around, and hadn't had any problems with it. Now, it's a typical Toyota Hybrid. It's got a CVT transmission. They have to, the way Toyota designs them. So you got drive, you got battery. You don't have any actual gears in it. A lot of room, comfy seats, tons of room in the back, and a big trunk. Now, he has changed something. His wife and his daughter drive to New York City all the time, so he put in run flat tires that cost $250 a piece. Because they're going from Virginia to New York down I-95. You don't want to break down on that highway the way the maniacs in New York drive. So he wants to feel secure, so that's what he put on. And he admitted to me, they are loud. You're going to find these run flat tires are loud. That's one of the main reasons they don't really put them on luxury cars anymore. They thought, oh great, run flats on a luxury car. Oh, you never have to worry. They made too much noise. Somebody spends a bunch of money on a car, it's a luxury car, and then it makes too much noise. But he wants it for safety's sake, and there's nothing wrong. If you understand, they're gonna make a lot of noise, and they also cost $250 a piece for just this normal size. It's not a special size. Go ahead and get them, but if you don't like noise, stay far away from run flat tires. Now, of course, with most things, people wanna know, how did a hybrid last? Well, this thing is 14 years old now. He's put very little money. The first 12 years, he changed the oil. It's definitely held up well for him. It's not burning oil now. In town, he gets 34 miles a gallon, and he gets about 37 on the highway still. It stayed the same. Now, that shows you how well-made Toyotas are. You'd think, after all those mods and all that time, it would go down. But in fact, it stayed the same. So, this thing has given them no trouble at all. And it does kind of show you that they built them better in the olden days, because this is an '09. And I understand those new RAV4s that are hybrid, and they got the wiring system corroding up in Canada and people suing them, and they're saying, well, it's not covered under the warranty. This has no such problems. It's an '09, it's lived on the East Coast up north its whole life. It still works good. That is the problem with this kind of technology. When they first built it, Toyota overbuilt them, because they didn't want a bad reputation of, oh, those pieces of crap, they fall apart, those hybrids. The Prius has been out for decades, right? Well, now obviously their engineers are thinking, how can we make it a little bit cheaper? Maybe put a little bit cheaper connectors or cheaper wiring. This one doesn't have the problem as old as it is. So it basically shows you that they actually did build them better back in the days, even the hybrids. So the reality is this thing has held up really well. Now, interesting enough, it was only 25 grand when he bought it. He got a military discount, a really good price, and you're not going to find anything like that today. Just realize the technology that Toyota puts in it has been proven enough by the Priuses in the forefront that sticking it in a Camry, it's held up. It's not like some of the other companies that you wonder, well, let's see, that's their first one. These do hold up. If you're going to buy a used hybrid, my advice is to get a Camry. The Priuses I find a bit claustrophobic and don't have enough a little bit too low to the ground. I just don't like the cars. But this, as you're going to see when I drive it around, it's pretty much a Toyota Camry that gets better gas mileage. We'll listen to the door. Nice and solid. We'll start her up. She may not do anything because the battery's on. Now the motor's started up, so we'll get out of the driveway. And other than the quietness of the engine, which isn't running at the moment, going on battery power, it pretty much feels like a Toyota Camry. We get over the hump, and away we go. And as I said earlier, you can hear those tires. He put on those run flats for his wife and his daughter, driving to New York City all the time. He didn't want to get them stuck on the highway, so if you don't mind this noise, and you can hear them, it's extremely loud for a Camry. You would put regular tires on. He's just doing this for safety. We'll get to our little stop sign and then see how it goes. It's a hybrid, but it does have that regular Toyota engine. Here we go. It's got plenty of pickup. You get the combo hybrid, electric motor and gasoline motor. This is actually much faster than a regular Camry. I can hear those tires though. The faster you go, the more noise those run flats make. We'll do a little cornering here. Get a little cornering action. Handles fine, just like a Camry. Suspension and everything isn't any different. Certainly handles, corners perfectly fine. And you can hear the regenerated brakes humming away. Now we'll go up the hill, and it's got more pickup, like I say, than a regular Camry, with that extra boost of the electric motor. And just like a regular Camry, he spent hardly any money doing anything except changing the oil and filter. Now, of course, realize when that hybrid battery goes out, they're extremely expensive, but he gets the same exact gas mileage that he got than when he bought it brand new. So that's showing that that hybrid battery pack is still working perfectly fine. When your gas mileage starts to drop on these things, it's often the hybrid battery getting weak. Of course, it's got a regular engine, spark plugs and that, you can always check that. But if you start losing gas mileage and there's nothing wrong with the spark plugs, air filter, or anything like that, it means that the hybrid battery is reaching the end of its lifespan. But in this case, it's getting the same exact great gas mileage that it got from the day you bought it, so the battery still works perfectly fine. And interestingly enough, the regular 12-volt battery that it has is still the original one. He hasn't had to change that 12-volt battery. Normally they go out by now, but I guess 2009 must have been a great year for these things because this baby still has the original small 12-volt battery and the original hybrid battery. And I like the fact that it's still relatively high. It's not scraping when I go over my bumps in the driveway. That's one thing that I really like about this hybrid Camry. It's not super low to the ground. Now you take a Prius, that was maximized. They get even better gas mileage, but they're super low to the ground. And people are always ripping the undercarriages, going over speed bumps. They're too low. They'll get stuck in the snow because they're too low. This is a normal height, so it drives like a normal car. It went over those speed bumps. It didn't drag anything. That's what I want in a car. I'm not going to buy a car just to get another 2 or 3 miles per gallon when it's got downsides. There's no point in doing it for a tiny bit of gas mileage. Just gets great gas mileage, but it's a regular car. It looks like a regular car. You're not going to get people with big diesel trucks throwing eggs at you because they think it's a Toyota Prius and that you're smug. You're not smug. You're driving a Toyota Camry, so you're like the average American. Likes the car. They sell a lot of them. Yet you get one that gets better gas mileage on it. It looks like a Toyota Camry. It doesn't have big blaring. We're an electric car. We're blah, 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 blah. It's just got a little tiny thing in the bottom that says Hybrid Synergy Drive. So here's the real truth. Camry Hybrid that the guy bought brand new in 2009. They spent hardly any money fixing it. It still gets the same exact gas mileage. It still looks to be a beautiful car. Maybe you don't want to mess with a hybrid. You get a regular Camry. You're not going to get this kind of gas mileage for sure. And the brakes are going to wear out fast because you're going to use them more. But with the kind of gas mileage he gets out of this, for what he paid for the car, 25 grand, I can't wait to see how long it lasts him. Because he seems to be a guy like me who's going to keep it until the wheels fall off. And maybe the wheels won't ever fall off. Maybe his grandkids will be driving it. I don't know. My grandkid's driving a Camry that my son bought years ago. So who knows? It does have the hybrid technology, but like I say, it seems to me that was better built back in the day than today. These don't have any wiring problems. This has never had wiring problems. It lives on the East Coast. If any place is going to get salt intrusion, it's an everyday driver, would be this, and it hasn't got any. It's not rusting out. The electrical system and the hybrid system has had no problems whatsoever. Still the original regular battery, the original hybrid battery. So it's proven itself to be a Toyota. Well, at least the Toyotas of olden days. I'll leave it at that. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.